Hi there, and welcome to a story that feels too real to be fiction. Because sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one mistake, for everything to change. Stay with me till the end. You won't believe where this one leads. Nora had never been this tired in her life. The kind of tired that seeps into your bones. The kind that makes you forget what day it is. She had just finished scrubbing 10 marble bathrooms, each bigger than her entire apartment. Her shoes were soaked, her back ached, and the cleaning cart she was pushing felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "Just one more sweet," she whispered. "One more." The estate was massive, the private residence of one of the most powerful men in Dubai. She had been warned before she stepped foot inside. Don't touch anything personal. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't even look in the direction of the sheikh if he's home. But they said he was out of the country, that the house would be empty. So, when she reached the final room, the master bathroom, all she saw was a tub. White, wide, spotless, and strangely inviting. She looked at her reflection in the polished tile, hair frizzy, eyes red, shoulders slumped. 5 minutes, she murmured. She didn't plan to fall asleep. She just sat down on the edge of the tub, closed her eyes, and the next thing she knew, she was out cold. Sheikh Zayan Al Farouk had flown in early. The media didn't know. His staff didn't know. Not even his driver knew he was landing 4 days ahead of schedule. He hated drama. And lately, the palace had been full of it. Family pressure, business scandals, people treating him like a commodity instead of a man. So tonight he just wanted silence. But as he walked through his private suite, something felt off. There was a smell, lavender and lemon, like hotel disinfectant. And then, the sound. A faint snore. Zayan frowned, followed the noise into the bathroom, and froze. In his bathtub, curled up like a child, was a woman, wearing a blue cleaning uniform, her shoes still on, her face pressed against a rolled towel like a pillow, snoring softly. His eyes widened. Was she drunk? Hurt? Insane? Then he saw her name tag. Nora A., and next to her, a half-folded towel, a spray bottle, and a cleaning checklist with 9 signatures, all marked complete. She wasn't a trespasser, she was just exhausted. He didn't yell, didn't move, he just stood there for a moment, watching. She stirred, then gasped. Sat up too fast, her eyes met his, and the color drained from her face. Nora scrambled out of the tub. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know anyone was home. I just sat down." Her shoe slipped. She crashed into the wall, then into the floor. Then, mortified, tried to stand again, only to knock over a mop bucket. Zayan didn't say a word. He watched her flail, trip, apologize, and nearly cry. Finally, he stepped forward. "Stop," he said calmly. She froze. I'm sorry, sir. I can see that. I swear I wasn't... I didn't sleep on purpose." He raised an eyebrow. "Most people don't sleep in bathtubs by accident." She looked down, ashamed. "I just needed 5 minutes." He studied her. She was young, maybe mid-20s, tired but not sloppy. Her eyes were soft, her hands trembling. "Are you hurt?" "Number just humiliated." He paused. "What's your name?" "Nora." "Nora. Amari, sir." He nodded once, then, to her shock, extended a hand. She hesitated, then took it. "I should probably go," she mumbled. "You should probably eat," he said instead. Her head snapped up. "What? You look like you haven't in days." I'm fine, really." He stepped aside. "Kitchen, 10 minutes. Don't be late." And with that, he walked away, leaving Nora standing barefoot, dumbfounded, in the bathroom she had just snored in, invited to dinner by the most powerful man in the city. Nora walks into the kitchen of a palace, and, accidentally, walks into something even bigger. Nora had exactly 10 minutes to decide whether she'd gone completely insane, or whether this was actually happening. She stood outside the private kitchen of the villa, still in her uniform, still covered in lint and dust and traces of floor wax. Her hair was a mess, her heart was pounding, and yet somehow she found the courage to knock. A chef opened the door, not just a cook, a chef, with the whole uniform and hat and stern expression. He blinked when he saw her. "You're not staff here." "I was invited." He raised a brow. "By?" Nora gulped. "Sheikh Zion." That got his attention. Without another word, he stepped aside. She entered, and the kitchen, massive, stainless steel, pristine, went quiet. Everyone turned, everyone stared. She wanted to disappear, but before she could backpedal out of the room, a voice behind her said, "She's with me." Zion. He wasn't wearing his formal robe anymore, just a black shirt, sleeves rolled up, and a relaxed posture that somehow still felt like authority. He walked past her and motioned toward the smaller breakfast table near the windows. "Sit." She obeyed. He nodded to the chef. "Something simple, please." And just like that, the kitchen moved again. Pans clattered, knives chopped. Silence lifted. Nora sat stiffly. "I really don't want to be a bother," she said finally. Zion looked at her. "You fell asleep in a marble tub. I think we're past bothering." She flushed. "It was a mistake." Clearly. I was exhausted, I noticed. Silence. He poured 2 glasses of water, handed her one. "You live here? In Dubai?" he asked. "Dira. With 3 roommates, we take shifts, I get the floor mattress." "You work for a cleaning agency?" 2, actually. He tilted his head. "You work nights?" "And mornings. This was my 5th job this week." He studied her for a moment. "You don't talk like someone who gives up easily." "I don't have that option," she said quietly. The food came quickly. Soup, bread, tea, fresh fruit. Nora stared at it like it was a test. "Eat," Zion said. "That's not a trap." She picked up a spoon, took 1 bite, and had to blink twice. "Okay," she whispered. "This is insane." He raised an eyebrow. "Good?" "Stupid good." He smiled, just a flicker, and took a sip of tea. For a while, they just sat. No questions, no awkwardness. Just 2 strangers in an unexpected pause. Then, softly, he asked, "Why were you working yourself to the point of collapse?" She hesitated. "My mom passed last year. My younger brother's still in university back home. I send money." "How old are you?" 26. He nodded slowly. She looked at him. "You don't seem shocked." "I know what responsibility looks like." Then quieter. "It doesn't always wear a crown." By the time she finished eating, her body felt more grounded. Still anxious, still embarrassed, but calmer. She set her spoon down. "Thank you, for the food, and for not calling security." He smirked. "I was close. I believe that." He stood. She followed, unsure what came next. Then he looked at her directly. "You're not fired, not from the agency, not from here." Her mouth opened, closed. "Wait, what?" "You're not in trouble. I fell asleep in your bathtub." "You did. But you didn't steal anything. You didn't lie. You didn't pretend. That's rare." She looked down, her voice small. "I'm just tired." He nodded, then added, "I have a guest house on the property. Empty, clean, quiet, no gold bathtubs. You can rest there before your shift tomorrow." Her eyes snapped up. "You're offering me a room? 1 night. No strings. I can't afford—" "You don't owe me anything." She hesitated. Then softly, "Why are you being kind to me?" Zion's expression shifted, as if he wasn't entirely sure himself. "Because the last time someone looked at me like I was just a man, not a sheikh, not a figure, not a target. I can't remember when that was." That night Nora slept for 9 straight hours, on a clean bed, with a real pillow, not a tub, not a floor, not a shift alarm. And for the first time in a long time, she dreamed. Not of stress, but of peace, of a stranger in black, and a plate of soup that somehow felt like the start of something neither of them could name yet. Nora returns to the villa, this time with a different purpose, and discovers the palace isn't just marble and rules. It's full of watching eyes. Nora didn't plan to go back. She told herself it was a one-time thing, a fluke, a weird dream with too much soup and way too much royalty. But the next morning, just as she stepped into the agency office to clock in, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Be at the Al Farouk residence at 6 p.m., not in uniform. She stared at the message like it might explode. Another ping, followed by, bring your common sense, leave your mop. At 6 p.m., Nora stood at the security gate again, this time in jeans and a clean white blouse. No badge, no bleach smell, no cart. She expected questions, an eye roll, maybe even a, you don't belong here. Instead, the guard nodded once and said, you're expected. Expected? What was happening? Zayan was waiting near the courtyard, casual again, rolled sleeves, no entourage. He looked at her and said, good, you came. I almost didn't. But you did. She crossed her arms. Why am I here? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he motioned for her to follow. Through quiet hallways, past rooms she hadn't dared look into before, until they reached a large side lounge. Soft lighting, arched windows, low couches, and in the center, a table, stacks of folders, blueprints, sketches, documents. She blinked. What is all this? Zayan sat down. Every year my family hosts a charity initiative. A very public one. Usually boring. Usually fake. But this year I want to build something real. He looked at her. You told me your mother passed, that you worked jobs no one saw, that your brother is still studying. She nodded slowly. So, I want to fund a housing complex. Affordable, safe, clean. For migrant women like you. Workers who deserve more than cots and curfews. Nora's breath caught. I don't understand. What does that have to do with me? You'll help design it. She blinked. I'm not an architect. Good. That means you'll think like a human being. And just like that, the lines between servant and guest, stranger and consultant, started to blur. She came back the next day and the one after that. At first, just to give feedback. How many beds fit in one room? What's the best spot for shared laundry? But soon she was involved in the layout, the language guides, even the menu ideas for the communal kitchen. Zayan watched her take notes, challenge decisions, speak up when something didn't feel right. She was bold, even when nervous, smart, even when unsure, and slowly, he realized, she had stopped calling him Sir. But not everyone was pleased. One afternoon, Nora walked into the villa and noticed something had changed. The staff, their eyes. Some nodded politely, others looked away. Whispers followed her down the hall, and when she entered the lounge, Zayan was already there, a folder in his hand, his jaw tight. He looked up. There's been talk. She closed the door behind her. What kind of talk? That you're not just here for the project. Nora's stomach dropped. They think we're... He didn't answer, but the tension spoke for itself. She stepped back. If this is causing problems... It's not, he said quickly. But if your staff thinks I'm just some girl you feed and keep around... He stood. That's not what you are, her voice dropped. Then, what am I? He paused. Not because he didn't know, but because saying it out loud would make it real. You're the first person who's walked into this house and told me the truth. She swallowed. That doesn't mean I belong here? You do, he said, softer. More than anyone. That night, she sat in the guest house with the lights off, just thinking about the way he listened, the way he looked at her when she wasn't speaking, about how, somehow, she felt more seen in this palace than she had anywhere else, but also about how easily it could all disappear. Because in his world, people like her weren't written into the script. They were edited out, silently, cleanly, without a trace. A jealous whisper, a leaked photo, and the moment Nora has to decide whether to fight for her place or walk away before she's erased. It started with a photo, grainy, zoomed in, taken through the tinted windows of a car. But the image was clear enough. Zayan, in the back seat. Nora, sitting beside him, laughing. The caption underneath? The Sheikh's new charity case, or something more. It spread like wildfire. Social media, anonymous blogs, whispered conversations in the palace halls. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion about the girl who used to clean bathrooms and now shared tea with royalty. And Nora? She saw the post while riding the bus home. No warning, no context, just her own face, caught mid-laugh, being picked apart in the comments. Typical. These girls come here for jobs and end up in beds. Smart move, looks like she found her elevator to the top. From mop to mistress. Nora didn't cry. She just froze. Then quietly got off the bus 2 stops early and walked home in silence. At the palace, Zayan stood in front of a massive window, phone in hand, jaw clenched. He had seen the article 5 minutes after it posted. His head of security was already running background checks. His press team was preparing a no comment. But none of it mattered. Because the moment he saw the picture, one thought hit him harder than any scandal. She didn't ask for this. She had only ever told him the truth. She had never touched his money, never hinted at wanting more. And now she was the target. Because she dared to stand next to him without shame. She didn't show up the next day, or the day after that. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Zayan canceled 2 meetings, ignored press requests, refused to leave the property. Finally, on the 3rd morning, just after sunrise, a message from Nora. If this is what your world is, I don't belong in it. I'm sorry. He found her, at her apartment, 3 stories up in a walk-up with no elevator, peeling paint, and curtains made of pinned bedsheets. She opened the door in sweatpants and a t-shirt with the words, "Keep going," faded across the front. And her eyes, tired, guarded. He didn't smile. He just stepped inside and said, "You don't get to disappear." "I didn't disappear," she said softly. "I stepped back." "You ran. Wouldn't you?" He didn't answer. She folded her arms. "This isn't just gossip, Zayan. It's my life. I go to the store, people stare. I walk into a building, and I'm the headline, not the human." He nodded slowly. "I know, and I hate it." She looked at him. "This is your world. People will move on. But I'll still be the girl who slept in your bathtub and laughed in your car. They'll never let me forget it." He stepped closer. "Then we give them something else to remember." "What does that mean?" "It means you're not going back into the shadows. Not for them. Not for them. Not for anyone," her voice cracked. "I'm scared. So am I." That surprised her. He smiled, just barely. "I'm terrified, Nora, of what it means to need someone. To let someone see the parts of me that aren't polished and powerful." She exhaled shakily. "I don't want to be your scandal." "You're not." "Then what am I?" He didn't hesitate this time. "You're the only real thing I've had in years." Later that day, he held a press conference. The media gathered like wolves, expecting a statement crafted by lawyers and PR experts. What they got instead? Zayan, alone, standing in front of a single microphone. "There has been speculation. Let me confirm one thing. Yes, Nora Amari was hired as part of a development project for migrant housing. Yes, I value her insights and her presence. And no, I will not be apologizing for letting someone decent, honest, and capable into my life." He paused. If the truth makes you uncomfortable, perhaps the problem isn't her. It's the mirror. Then he walked off the stage. No questions. No spin. Just truth. That night, Nora sat in her tiny apartment, wrapped in a blanket, watching the speech on her cracked phone screen. And for the first time since it all began, she believed him. The final choice. A personal invitation. And the moment Nora must decide, is she brave enough to stay in a world that finally made room for her? 2 weeks passed. No more headlines, no more photos, no more whispers in elevators. Just silence. The kind of silence that made Nora feel both relieved and uneasy, like standing on a cliff edge, waiting for the wind to push or let you go. She went back to work at the agency, refused all special treatment, declined private cars, kept her head down. But her heart? Her heart was louder than ever. Then, one Thursday afternoon, she got a letter. No email, no text, an envelope, thick paper, gold edges, no return address. Inside, a handwritten note. The housing project is ready to open. The women deserve someone who understands their world. There's a room here with your name on it, if you want it. I won't ask again. Z. She stared at it for a long time, then packed a small bag and left. The building wasn't a palace, but it was beautiful in its own way. Warm colors, real plants, wide corridors with sunlight pouring in, and laughter. Everywhere. She arrived at the entrance, unsure what to expect. A woman at the front desk smiled at her. You're Nora, right? Yeah. She handed Nora a key. Room 207, second floor, end of the hall. Nora blinked. I'm staying here? The woman smiled again. Not just staying, directing. The room was simple: bed, desk, bookshelf, a window with soft curtains, and on the wall, a plaque. Nora Amari, Community Director for the Ones Who Work in Silence. Her eyes filled instantly. She sat on the bed, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like she was surviving. She felt like she had arrived. Zayan didn't see her that night. He didn't try to find her, didn't call. He let her come to him. Or not. It was her choice now, her terms. But late the next evening, she showed up outside the palace gate. No security escort, no entourage, just Nora, in jeans and a soft gray shirt. The guard waved her through. She found Zayan in the courtyard, sitting under a tree. Reading. He looked up, didn't speak, didn't stand, just waited. She walked over, heart thudding. I saw the room, she said. He nodded. It's yours. I thought you said you wouldn't ask again. I didn't. I invited. She tilted her head. I don't want to be your assistant. I didn't offer that. I don't want to be your charity story. You never were. She took a breath. I want to be part of your world, but I need to do it my way. A pause. Then, Zayan smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. They didn't kiss. They didn't hold hands. They just sat under the tree, two people with history in their eyes and something much more permanent between them. Mutual respect. The beginning of something that would move slowly but deeply. 6 months later, the housing center had a waiting list. Dozens of women lived there now. Cooks, cleaners, drivers, and service staff from all over the city. And at the front of it all, Nora, clipboard in hand, coffee in the other, still blunt, still stubborn, still herself. Zayan visited often, never made a speech, never posed for cameras. But every time he walked in, something in Nora's posture softened. And one day, as she walked him to the elevator, she said, You know what I like about you? He raised an eyebrow. Tell me. You didn't rescue me, he smiled. You invited me to rescue myself. That night, she stood on the roof of the center, looking out at the lights of Dubai, and whispered to herself, This is home. Not because of where she slept, but because of who she had become. Not a worker, not a secret, not a scandal, but someone who had taken up space and been allowed to stay. What did you think of Nora and Zayn's story? Leave a comment, give it a rating, and subscribe for more true feeling stories like this one.